Hey, this is Dr. Ben Weitz, host of the Rational Wellness Podcast. I talk to the leading health and nutrition experts and researchers in the field to bring you the latest in cutting-edge health information. Subscribe to the Rational Wellness Podcast for weekly updates. And to learn more, check out my website, drweitz.com. Thanks for joining me, and let's jump into the podcast. Hello, Rational Wellness Podcasters. Today, we will be having a conversation with Ron Beckenfeld. He's the CEO of Continental Vitamin Company, a leader in the health and fitness industry, and they specialize in producing high-quality dietary supplements. Ron has a passion for health and fitness, and Ron and I have known each other for...
Too long. Probably at least 40 years, Ben. I thought it was 50. I thought it was 50 years.
Yeah.
Because I knew you before you were a chiropractor. So that several years prior. So about 40 years I've known you.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So that just sort of gives away how old both of us are. So how did you first get involved with the vitamin business?
Back at Gold's Gym, before I met you, I started my business out of the trunk of my car.
Okay.
And Joe Gold and all those people used to crucify me in there. I'd be hustling vitamins all the time. And that's how I started. I started going around the health food stores. There were like not much of a healthy, you're not talking a Sprouts type of business.
Now, at the time, were you making your own vitamins or you were repping for another company?
No, I went to a small lab and they made it up.
Okay.
I put my label on it. So I would put the label on the product, or they did. And I would put go around. I'd put the vitamins in the trunk of the car, and I'd go around.
Huh.
And some of the bodybuilders we know, like Frank Zane, I used to sell him 10,000 liver tablets at a time.
I remember those desiccated liver tablets.
Yeah, 10
those
grams.
things were nasty smelling and tasty.
Nasty, but I used to sell a hell of a lot of it in Louis Ferrigno and all these guys, man.
Yeah, I know Lou real well.
Oh, yeah, he's great. But then from there, I was kicking around the business for a long time. Then my dad, to be honest with you, which suffered from, he had heart problems. He couldn't swallow tablets. And one day he was taking this very small tablet, and I asked him, it was for his heart. It was a nitroglycerin tablet.
Right.
And he said, and he had trouble swallowing big tablets. He says, "Can you make something like this, son?" That kind of sent me on the mission. And these special machines that make these, I was able to acquire these. And that was about 25 years ago. So I started making the Superior Source microlingual, which we have about 100 items. And the real trick to this product is it's clean and it's very, 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 very tiny. If you can even see, you could probably put 10 of them on a dime. And that's been our flagship with the clean with no, the heavy binders and excipients you use in hard tablets,
Right.
This and that. So we don't use that. And it's been.
And you're supposed to hold these under your tongue to be absorbed?
You can, or you can just keep in your mouth and let it dissolve, or you can just swallow them. I mean, they're so small. So like I say, we have about 100 items from just the vitamin Ds to melatonin to B12 to pretty much quite a few products. And recently,
but if you hold it under your tongue, potentially you may have a better route of absorption and through the digestive system, right? Don't we? Yeah. We have a direct route through under the tongue, sublingually into the bloodstream.
Right. And we don't call it a sublingual; we call it a microlingual. It's our own thing. That, and then we started expanding recently, like this keto powder. We do a lot of business. Yeah. With the MCT fats from coconut, and got you 10 grams of collagen, which it's only 80 calories. There's nothing in it.
Right.
We moved into other products like this beetroot powder with apple cider vinegar. It does very well for us.
Okay. Yeah. Beets are a great way to stimulate nitric oxide production.
Correct. And our newest product is this right here, this creatine and HMB.
Okay.
Which is 10 grams of creatine and 5 grams of HMB, which is substantial. And this is doing well.
Right. Yeah, creatine is actually good for brain health as well as for pre-workout to give you more energy in your workouts.
Correct.
HMB is another supplement that's shown some benefit in helping build muscle.
Keep you from sarcopenia.
Sarcopenia. Yeah.
Muscle
loss of muscle as you age.
Critical. That's some of the things I like to talk about is basically, I'm 80 years old. I've known you for almost half my life. Yeah. And, I like just to spread the word about health in general. As you, especially over 40, I relate it to basically if you get a car, let's say you get a brand new car, you can go a while and not take care of it. But I think after a while, 40, 50,000 miles, and I relate it to being 40 or 50 as an adult, you got to really step back and really start paying attention to yourself. And with especially the women, they're so busy with the soccer and taking the kids here and doing this. And they're really taking the heavy lifting. They need some time for themselves for some exercise. 20, 30, 40 minutes would be ideally. And eating properly, staying away from packaged goods as much as possible. And especially on packaged goods, you got to learn how to read labels. A lot of people don't know how to read serving sizes and so on and so forth.
Right.
It's confusing. The packaging is meant to be confusing. So many calories for this, but and it's 4 servings. They give it to you for 1 serving, but you end up eating a whole 4,
Of course, yeah. And
there's hundreds and hundreds
ingredients that are not popular. They'll disguise, they'll call it different names, as I'm sure there's, 30 different names for gluten and for sugar and some of these other things.
Well, basically what's happened in this country, you go back 50 years ago, childhood obesity was rare. Some pediatricians maybe didn't even see it in their whole career. Now, right. 70%. So it becomes a vicious cycle. The food gets you, they come after the pharmaceuticals, and then the insurance companies hammer the death out of you. And it's a vicious cycle with this thing. And it's mainly the packaged factory foods, let's call it.
Yeah, it's, there's a bizarre cycle that's happening right now in this country where we have so many people eating these what you're calling packaged foods. The
factory
new term
food
is ultra processed foods, right. Junk food. We have various terms for it, but they're foods that are made with added sugar, salt, fat, and they hit the bliss point and people overeat them and they jack up your blood sugar. And we're actually we're allowing these companies to spend millions and billions of dollars promoting these foods,
absolutely
helping to make people overweight. And then to compensate for it, we now have to spend thousands of dollars a month having people take drugs like Ozempic to counter the effects of the ultra processed foods. And the whole thing is just costing.
And then you got the insurance companies, Ben. They raise the rates because you're sick and using more medicine.
Exactly.
They're hammering you to death.
It's insane that we're doing this. It's completely irrational.
Well, here's the way a lot of people look at it, Ben, and I don't look at it this way. Everybody's going to live about the same. If you're going to be limping along or be sick with medication, you'll still live the same. Is the quality of your life going to be there? That's where the big come.
Of course, it's what we call the biological aging versus chronological aging. It's the quality of your life.
Well, the drugs will keep you alive, Ben, and keep you, but that doesn't mean you have a quality life.
Absolutely. The average person's health and vitality goes downhill starting at age 40. And even if they're being kept alive, they have no quality of life.
Right. And what's happening too, people would rather have things instead of, like, you can get cheap food and right. They can buy things, computers, TV, clothing, stuff like that.
Sure.
They don't care. They just don't care.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
The schools are giving
time people say, I don't want to spend the money on organic, but I'm going to Europe next week. And
correct.
That trip might cost them $15,000, but they don't want to spend the extra money to buy some quality nutritional supplements or to get organic foods.
Yeah, it just, they don't want to bother. And it just, that's it. They can take that little pill and everything's fixed from the pharmaceuticals. And that's the message I'm trying to put out. Basically, you don't have to have a Herculean effort to stay healthy. Basically, you limit the packaging foods you have, but learn how to read the labels, where the sneaky ones are like the salad dressings are rammed full of ungodly amount of calories, where they learn the serving, reading the label. It's almost impossible to live without packaged foods, but there are some that are okay. They can make cardboard taste good these days. And
sure, but in many cases, you don't have to use packaged foods. It might just take you a few minutes of food prep. So get a quality extra virgin organic olive oil,
right.
Add some balsamic vinegar, mix it up with some salt and pepper and maybe another seasoning in there. And that's a great salad dressing without all the crap. You go to the store and you try to buy a quality salad dressing, and it's very hard. You even buy one that says olive oil, and the first ingredient is soybean oil or some other low quality oil. And then they have added sugars and chemicals and preservatives.
Right. And that's basically the message I'm trying to put out. I'm in the supplement business has been good to me. I want to make money, but I want to put the message out. The guy I really look up to the most, and you probably heard of him, is Jack LaLanne. The guy who's put out the message never stopped for 100 years, basically.
By the way, he was a chiropractor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he never practiced, but he went to chiropractic college.
He's one of the great, we're into bodybuilding, you and I, of his era, might have been the best one, number one of his era in the 30s.
Right.
And then his strengths of feet were beyond incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody in this day and age, I don't think could even do a lot of his stuff.
No, I know. Age 70, he pulled 70 boats across the San Francisco harbor.
Yeah, but guy, think in an hour and a half, he could do like 1,000 push-ups or something.
Yeah.
And he could do one-arm planges and climb a rope with no legs and like a monkey, instantly.
Yeah.
Nobody gives him any credit, but he was never into making the bucks. He was just putting the word out, the health. And that's what I want to be.
Yeah, no, Jack LaLanne was great. And there's all these great sayings. He had a lot of great sayings that you...
Well, not only that, I don't know if you know, he invented the leg extension.
Is that right?
And the selector pin.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Nobody talks about that.
Huh. I didn't know.
He invented those two things.
Wow.
So, he's more and more my hero because of the message he was putting out. Don't eat the junk food, stay away from the sugar, and all that stuff.
What are some of the other keys to longevity? Obviously, exercise, making sure you're doing something.
Most important when you exercise, especially weight training, do not overtrain. Then you end up over at your place getting work done. Don't overtrain. That probably, I didn't wake up till that. I was about 50-ish, but the damage was done.
Yeah.
Rest is very important. Excuse me. Rest extremely important. And we could step on some other thing for male. I think testosterone with, done properly with TRP, test replacement, replacement, I think is good. I call it the 4 legs of the table: rest, eating, training, and the testosterone. All those.
Yeah.
Moderation, all of it. You need to get sleep. I think you need 8 hours. You can break it up with a nap or something, or especially with the weight training, don't overtrain. It gets very addictive.
Yeah, you and I have lived in an unusual world, but for the average person out there, just getting to the gym and doing anything is more of the challenge than overtraining.
Well, that's a challenge because it's very time consuming, but they have such great with bands for resistance training. You don't have to resistance. You can do it at home. They got great videos or YouTube, some kind of resistance training. Try to hold your body mass, with your bones. I think collagen's important for your bones. As you get older, the bones go, the muscle goes, everything goes.
Yeah, it turns out that in order to maintain bone density, you actually have to do some heavy weight training. That's really one of the few things that's been shown to be beneficial.
Well, I wouldn't disagree with you, but you at least got to start somewhere with, especially the females, some bands. You just get you moving in the right direction. And if you want to take it to the next step, they do have gyms, and the gym's a good thing. I mean, you and me have been involved with the gyms for basically our whole lifetime. And there's some wonderful people. Let's say you go to the gym at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. The same people are usually there, and it's a smile, glad to know you. Maybe you don't hang with them; they're your best friend, but it's a welcoming atmosphere. That's what I found, and I belong to, besides Gold's in Venice, I belong to a couple other gyms, and I get that.
Yeah, I've always felt that too.
Yeah, and there's a lot of learning. Things have changed a lot. A lot of stuff like, if you lift weights, you'd be muscle bound. You can't even be a bass fisherman without lifting weights. I mean, you really can't do much of anything.
Yeah.
I mean, every sport, whatever, I don't care what it is.
Yeah, especially when it comes to longevity. We know that the loss of muscle mass, and you also mentioned the loss of bone, are keys to maintaining your longevity, because that's what supports your joints, your skeletal structure. And there are some people who are stuck in beds in nursing homes, and the only reason they can't get out of bed is because they've lost so much muscle.
They're weak, yes. And it doesn't have to be a Herculean effort, just for the women especially, because they're so busy. You just start even 20 minutes, even if you do a yoga, Pilates, whatever you enjoy, but try to get a little resistant training in there. It'll go a long, long, long way. And you don't have to be a fanatic about it like we are.
Right. And what part do you think supplements play in a healthy longevity lifestyle?
I think just what you just said, they're called supplement. Nothing beats real food, Ben.
Of course.
It's exactly what they are. They're supplementation.
Right.
Period. And so they do have there is a need for good quality supplements. As being a manufacturer and knowing the business fairly well, if I was going to buy a product, I generally would try to buy from the manufacturer, because they have a plant. They probably have, I'm sure they have a lab, or they have a third party testing, then versus somebody who's going to a contract manufacturer. I'm not poo-pooing on the contract manufacturer, but I think a guy that manufactures himself got a lot of skin in the game, man.
Yeah.
It's extremely expensive. A good packaging line is a couple $1 million. Everything's very, very expensive.
I've really been enjoying this discussion, but I just want to take a few minutes to tell you about a product that I'm very excited about. Imagine a device that can help you manage stress, improve your sleep, and boost your focus, all without any effort on your part. The Apollo wearable is designed to do just that. Created by neuroscientists and physicians, this innovative device uses gentle vibrations to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, helping you feel calmer, more focused, and better rested. Among the compelling reasons to use the Apollo wearable are that users experience a 40% reduction in stress and anxiety. Patients feel that they can sleep. Their sleep improves up to additional 30 minutes of sleep per night. It helps you to boost your focus and concentration. And it's scientifically backed. And the best part is you can get all these benefits with a special $40 discount by using the promo code Weitz, Weitz, my last name, at checkout to enjoy these savings. So go to Apollo Neuro and use the promo code Weitz today. And now back to our discussion. So let's talk about the supplement industry for a few minutes. What do you see as some of the trends in the nutritional supplement industry?
As far as the brick and mortar stores go, a guy that has a small health food store can make it. The real generally I call a vitamin store. That would be like GNC or vitamin shop, I don't see that as a future. I see the Sprouts, the Whole Foods, the guys that you walk in there, you can do your whole shopping for a day. You pick up your supplements, you pick up everything. But the real trend in supplements is, of course, the internet, Amazon and these Walmart and these type of places.
But then there's some risk. You might not be getting the real stuff.
Well, that's what I went back to the manufacturer.
Right.
That's what I went back to the manufacturer. Now there's some of these like Amazon, they're getting very strict who they're putting on. They want the customer to be happy. And like I said, if you have a manufacturing plant, I mean, the building and everything, you're into maybe $5 to $10 million. I mean, to kick up something like that. So you're not going to go cheat anybody for a few pennies. Most of the supplements aren't that expensive to make. It's just the cost of doing business, especially in California or anywhere else, advertising, promoting. And for the future of the health food stores, if you want to call it, it would be a market. And these guys do the business of a regular supermarket. One stop shopping, you buy whatever you want there. And generally the people are knowledgeable in the vitamin area. And with our products, what we do is we hold what is called a MAP price. So anybody wants to buy our product at retail, they could sell at what we have a MAP price on the internet, and they can make a profit.
Okay.
And that's how to control it so everybody gets a fair shake.
So what are some of the hottest trends in supplements? You mentioned collagen there. I think
the creatine is, if I'm not wrong, is the number one selling product on Amazon.
Is that right?
Number one supplement, period. Ungodly amount is being sold, and it's gone from the bodybuilding into the mainstream. A lot of this has gone into the mainstream. What I think is the bugaboo about the business and a lot of wasted money are those energy drinks, either the logo with the artificials or sugar. And if you want caffeine, you can go buy some caffeine tablets, 200 milligrams for $5 for 100 of them.
Right.
And those things are, I don't buy them myself, but I imagine they're $5, $6 a shot, for a drink. And they put a little tyrosine in there with some caffeine and some other stuff. But they're really not. Nothing's better, in my opinion, than water.
Right. Well, they also have the pre-workout supplements, which contain a bunch of caffeine as well.
I personally, before I train, and I train with Weitz 4 days a week, I will have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
What I use it is with this keto right here, the keto collagen. It's absolutely delicious. Only 80 calories. And I have my caffeine, and at least I'm getting a little something,
Right. Yeah. Well, when you have a cup of coffee, that's actually a food that has specific phytonutrients that have health promoting properties. That's different than putting some caffeine in a pre-workout drink. And a lot of these companies make these drinks and they put artificial sweeteners and artificial coloring agents and other preservatives.
Correct. I just don't believe in that. I never drink those. I see, they're in business. People are buying it. Usually people are misinformed. They need people like you and I to inform them. And I really don't I have a little skin in the game, but when it comes to health and stuff, I'm against the artificial sweeteners, like in the protein powders, they put a lot of sucralose and all that stuff in there. But you can get it with a riboside stevia. Yeah. Which is good. And if you handle it right, is very good. We use a little stevia in our products here when it's a little bitter, a little nasty to help out, smooth it out. Right.
I see. Because sometimes you wonder, why did they even put any sweetener in here? You're just trying to get some protein.
Well, I'm going to go back years and years and years ago. Probably when you first started around, the protein was just horrible, man. You needed a cement mixer to mix it with. They use cyclamate too, which has been banned. And now they've learned how to instantise the powder. We can stir it with a spoon. They can make these powders good, and especially the pea powders are excellent now. Even though they use the alcohol sugar, which is not the worst thing in the world, and erythanol. But there's no excuse. For me, I eat 5 meals a day, 2 drinks. The drinks are only a little over 100 calories, and I'm eating 3 nice meals. I'm barely eating 1,800 calories and I am full completely all the time.
Yeah.
Instead of, I'm not eating too much empty calorie. I don't even eat bread. I really don't particularly like it that much. No fried food, no chips.
Do you have a target for the amount of protein you're trying to get per day?
I'm trying to get about I eat probably close to 200 grams with the drinks. Without them, I couldn't do it. That's just too much food to eat.
200 grams of protein is a lot.
Well, they're saying at least, I'm not 200 pounds, I'm 170, but they're saying at least a gram or a little bit more per pound of body weight. So I'm right in there, maybe 150 to 200. If I miss a drink, I do a double scoop. Sometimes it's 40 or 50 grams of protein.
Yeah.
I still need some calories.
I think the only way you can get that level is going to be with some powdered protein.
Oh, no, it's just too much eating for me. I mean, all you spend your time eating. I mean, in the preparation of the food and all. The powders on top of it, they really, really hold me over for about 3 hours.
Right.
I try to get something in me every few hours. Sometimes only 4 meals and one's a drink. Sometimes it's 5 and 2 drinks.
Now, are you keeping up with some of the latest supplements that people are promoting for longevity? There's constantly some new product that comes out. Some of the newer products are the NAD precursors like NMN and NR. And then we have urolithin A, and there's spermidine, and somebody keeps coming up with some new product that is potentially going to help with longevity. Either they support the mitochondria or they affect, there's a series of mechanisms of aging that people talk about. And, one of them is things that promote autophagy, which is getting rid of the old junky parts of the cells. And there's these different mechanisms of aging that we're trying to tickle to.
To answer your question, yes, but in our process of manufacturing, we can't make all of these. But one thing we haven't touched on is very important. If you want to be healthy, you got to have a good support system around you, whether wife, girlfriend, whatever. That is, you're going to the gym again, you're not going to look good. I mean, you got to have a positive attitude around you. I think it's very important, a support system. If somebody loves you besides your dog, I think they don't talk about it, but I think it's very important, especially for the females. The gym is extremely intimidating. A lot of girls don't even like to sweat, whatever. But where they have a good support, so go on, honey, you're looking good. You dropped a dress size or whatever. A nice, encouraging support. So I think it's very important. Nobody talks about that too much.
Do you use things
you're going to the gym again with hanging out with those bums, and so you don't want to hear that stuff.
Do you incorporate things like sauna or cold plunge?
I have. I got at home. I have a sauna, and I was thinking of getting a cold plunge, but I get a massage regularly. More for me than not deep tissue. I'm very good with, and plus fascia release. But a chiropractor like you is invaluable, especially when you got an injury. They're going to give you some help, man.
Great. So you're successful at business. What about some advice as to how to be successful in business?
I think you and I will agree upon this, and you're a king of it, discipline.
Yeah.
Hey, discipline's the key to everything in life. I'm not the smartest guy in town, but I'm not lazy, and I'm disciplined.
Right.
It can be challenging and fun. It's very important. And if you just put your nose to the grindstone, if you don't have education, you might learn the hard way, but you'll learn.
Right.
I don't have a lot of education, to be honest with you. I didn't go to college, and I wasn't what you'd call a stellar student.
Right.
I thought an F was for fine, not for failure. And I didn't do well in school, but one thing I was a salesman. I could sell snow to an Eskimo.
Okay.
Very good. I was really good, and I just knew how to sell. And sales is the blood of all business, and those are the most treasured people in business, the guys that bring in the business. You can get bean counters all day long.
Right. And getting the right people to work with you, I'm sure, is crucial.
As your company grows, you must have people and delegate. I call myself a flea herder. I watch over people.
Okay.
But I have a lot of people have been with me over 30 years still. We have a great company vibe in here. We have every Halloween, we celebrate Halloween with our manufacturing in the back and the people we get together. We have a food brought in, music. We go into the parking lot and everybody has a great time. It's really glued the company together. I'm not the biggest payer in town, but the people like working here. My girls, I see them, they say, don't hug them or none of this. That's bunk. I do what I want to do. I have girls working me for 30 years in here. A lot of people for 30 years.
Right.
They usually die before they leave. I've had several die in here, just old age. And just a good atmosphere. Well, we treat people real nice.
So you like to hug people.
That gives
you and Joe Biden something in common.
Especially the ones that are in the manufacturing, I go back there and I love. They've been with me for years.
Yeah, they're like family, right?
They're like a family. They've been with for years and years and years. And the few new ones we get here and there, they kind of get into the groove, and it's really nice. I'm very proud of it, to be honest with you.
So, because most of these companies have to put these ingredients to get the products to go through the machines, right, like the magnesium stearate and things like that.
Right.
How do you avoid doing that?
Our process just doesn't do it. All we use is acacia gum. We do use lactose, which is not enough to even count. Your shirt got more lactose than we use.
And what do you use the lactose for?
To keep it to flowing and binding.
Okay.
Acacia gum.
Because otherwise the capsules or tablets get stuck in the machine. Is that what happens?
Right. And a lot of them, well, they're getting better now. I mean, you imagine the mag stearate, they're starting to do a vegetable with that stuff. They're improving. The capsules have really gotten really clean now. With the V capsules, you can use rice in there, and there's some natural ingredients for flowing agents. I just mentioned them. The tablets are a little different story. A little different.
Why are they different?
More binding and flowing agents are necessary. Then you got to coat the tablets. And they used to use shellac in the old days. Now do a vegetable coating. We don't do any of that. We just do powders and what we call our microlingual.
Why do you have to coat the tablets?
So they're easy to swallow. You ever get an uncoated tablet? When a horse tablet, try to swallow that thing. Don't go down so easy.
I see.
They use the vegetable. They put them in pans. Candy people use the same pans. Their pans. They go in there and they spin and they'll spray a little. It's a vegetable coating on them. It's called a film coating.
Okay. And what is that made out of? Is that something
you can get it? Most everybody's using a vegetable base type of a vegetable base. Okay. The industry is really forced to go clean. That's what everybody wants.
Right.
They might take the clean vitamins, but on the other hand, they go to the store and pick up a Snickers or whatever. The sugar is a taboo. That's probably the worst deal in town right there. It's very addicting.
Yeah, of course it is.
And, if you can stay away from that, if you could just, I call it the 90-10. If you could just do stuff 90% of the time right, you can do the 10 and do whatever the hell you want to do with it. You can eat some crap. Once you get it down a little bit, you got to, start losing a little weight. And, diets don't work, period. They don't work, they just don't. You might lose some weight, but you'll be back right where you started from.
Unless you change your lifestyle. That's the key, is changing your lifestyle.
Yeah, it's really easy. I mean, before, when I was a younger man, I would go to a little restaurant, egg whites, and they throw me in. Get the hell out of here. Change, let's give you what you want now. Hey, if health foods were selling really big, McDonald's, I'm going to use an example, would be selling them. But they've tried many times and people just don't want it, man. Unfortunately.
Well, also it costs more.
These guys are such big players. I think, Ben, that they could find a way to get costs down. They're such big players. I mean, they own the manufacturing end of everything, a lot of stuff. They make their own bread. They make their own this and that. I think they could get it in line, really can. The volume will cure it.
Unfortunately, our biology is such that we have built into us an innate desire for sugar and some of these other things. And that's because for hundreds of thousands of years, the biggest threat to survival was starvation. So we're out there foraging in the woods and something tastes sweet. It's got some carbohydrates that's going to potentially give us some calories to last another day. And even though now food is so plentiful that instinct is now contrary to our health, it's still with us. So we have to resist that. And the manufacturers of food products know that if they get the food with the right amount of sweetness, the right amount of saltiness, the right amount of fat, what they call the bliss point, people just keep eating and eating it.
That's right. Well, like you said, we mentioned 50 or 60 years. There wasn't no childhood obesity. Now, I think about 60%. And that's bad,
Oh yeah, it's horrible.
I mean, 70% of the young guys can't even qualify to go in the military.
Is that right? Yeah.
That's right, man. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
They're physically unfit. The average person can't even do a chin-up.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. When you can do one-arm chins.
All right. Ron, any final thoughts you have for us?
I'd like to tell everybody where they can buy our products from, because I can make a little money here, Ben.
Sure, absolutely. Your products are called Superior Source.
Microlingual.
Okay.
We have our own 100,000 square foot manufacturing. I've been in business 55 years.
Right.
Great people, great company. You can buy anywhere online, Amazon, Walmart, wherever you buy online, and a lot of health food stores, Sprouts, Vitamin Shop, Vitamin Cottage, which are a big chain. They're not too much in California, but they're a substantial chain, one of the biggest.
Right.
Independent health food stores. If in Southern California, I'm almost at every health food store there is.
So just look for a microlingual or superior
source. Microlingual.
Right.
Amazon, no problem. We're not a pricey line. A lot of stuff's $9, $10, $8 because we're a manufacturer. We pass it on. And if you can't swallow big tablets, or you want a real quality, clean product, which we are a clean product, we're the game for you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Ron.
Okay, Ben.
Thank you for making it all the way through this episode of the Rational Wellness Podcast. For those of you who enjoy listening to the Rational Wellness Podcast, I would very much appreciate it if you could go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and give us a 5-star ratings and review. As you may know, I continue to accept a limited number of new patients per month for functional medicine. If you would like help overcoming a gut or other chronic health condition, and want to prevent chronic problems, and want to promote longevity, please call my Santa Monica Weitz Sports Chiropractic and Nutrition office at 310-395-3111, and we can set you up for a consultation for functional medicine. And I will talk to everybody next week.